Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, and we are with Matt, the mortgage guy. It must be Wednesday. How you doing,
Yes, sir? I'm doing great, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey, one of the things I'm doing with all of my experts, Anna Kelly was first, you are second, is I am trying to understand, given your history, your experience, you working with hundreds of people, if not thousands of people a year, it'll be very interesting. I am trying to compare 2021 with what you could think of as 2022 or 2023, if it's easier for you, but from a unique perspective. I want you to think about the sellers, not the buyers. A lot of us, and you specifically, we just had a conversation about rates and looking at yields, and you know that we have demand destruction. That's essentially what the Federal Reserve does, right? Raise the funds rate, Treasury, 30-year demand destruction, less people qualify. I want to talk about what the Federal Reserve has done by keeping rates too low for too long and creating this, what was it, like 70% of loans have been recast in the last 2 years, something like that? Is that right?
Like the conventional loans that, like, of all the pool of all conventional loans, a humongous number, 65, 70% were written in the last 2 years.
So that is the problem I want to talk about. I think that 70% is going to become an asset that means sellers don't sell because they're stuck, right? Why buy another house when the rate goes from 2.5 to 6.5? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet. We're going to talk about 8 different categories and we're going to compare the difference. So I'll bring this up here. So what I'm doing here, Matt, is I want to talk about, hey, I don't want to talk about demand because everybody gets demand. I'm talking about supply because I've never, ever thought about this. This is something I've never had to think about. The Federal Reserve did this. It's an unintended consequence. But basically, there are people that don't want their home, right? Second homeowners, vacation homeowners. Last year, a lot of them probably sold, right? If you had a second home in Boise, for example, and you're only there once a year, the prices ran up, you probably sold, right? You cashed out early. I'm guessing that maybe there's not going to be as many second home sellers next year because rates are higher. And maybe they can't Airbnb it. The numbers, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of supply destruction. So when you think about the second home market, the sellers, not the buyers, do you think there's any impact on the sellers selling less, like a percentage point drop or maybe a gain?
This is you're starting with a hard one because I'm trying to wrap my head around the different factors, right? Why someone would want to unload a second home.
Yeah. Unload a second home next year versus last year. That's the wrinkle. Because rates are higher, right? The rates could be doubled.
Right. And I wonder, what's funny is they might not be able to demand a high of a price.
Correct.
And we haven't seen this yet, right? But second home specifically. Right. When we're at such low rates that, like, it was wild demand. Exactly. I remember all of COVID. So this is probably down. You want to, like, a percentage up or down?
Yes. Up or down. Or either.
Down 20%.
Okay. Downsize. Again, this is one that we've heard forever, right? Baby boomers, 5-bedroom, 3 baths, 2 stories. They want smaller. The kids are gone. But now, again, if we have 70% of loans recast, why would they downsize, right? They're going to get a smaller home with the same payment potentially.
Exactly. I mean, I think I told the story on your channel where I did the math for somebody who was selling $1 million and buying 800, and their payment was going up $400 a month.
They're
less house for more money.
Exactly. Again, this is going to be real. There will be less people that do this, I think.
Yeah. And I think this number's bigger. I think this number's down like 40% because the numbers just don't.
They don't work anymore. It's about payment, not price. It's about payment. So builders, this number may go up.
Yeah.
Right?
I think this number goes up. And I think that they're going to try as much as certain states, I won't name any, make it hard to build with all their friggin', permits and cost interference.
So what do you think?
And we're talking just 22 versus 21.
Yeah. So builders did about 600,000 last year, roughly.
all right, let's hope that they can up that by 25%. That's pretty lofty.
Yeah, that's fine. I like it.
Yeah.
How about flippers, right? There was never, if I actually on my channel, I have Omar on Tuesdays. A year ago, maybe 15 months ago, I said, this is the best time ever to flip. Lipstick flips were flying off the shelf. It was very profitable. It's why I owe 6 figures to the IRS, frankly. Not going to be as easy next year, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And I think the best of the best, I've got plenty of investor friends, plenty of flipper friends, and then, I've got buyers buying the end product.
It's not the best of the best, though. It's everybody else who got lucky.
Right. But I think that this will be segmented, where like somebody who's buying a fixer at $1 million, putting in 150 and being able to sell it for 1.5. If you're smart, the coming market will not allow that.
Exactly.
If you're buying entry level stuff that's going to sell for, like we bucketed it, right? Like first time buyers, different markets or different price points, but those ones I think will still be able to survive. So I think like as a whole, this is probably down, we'll call it 30%.
Okay.
I hope for some folks' sakes where you're like, you got to be good to do it in a market where there's, margins are thinner. And then at the high end, I think that might be like down 50%.
Yeah, totally agree. This one actually is going to be up probably large percentage, but absolute numbers will be nothing. We will have more foreclosures. We will have short sales. We will have deed in lieu. They've essentially been turned off for 2 years. It won't be nearly as much as people think because loan workouts are like, I think Black Knight said like 95% of loans cure, but we will have more. I think we will certainly have more this year. You got any gut on percentages?
Well, yeah, and it's going to be a skewed number, right? Because it's like when we go from nothing, we can have a 900% increase. We could, and people will use that as a graphic on a thumbnail, where we're still like 1/4 of the average, right?
That's exactly what I said. I think I was in the hundreds, and I'm like, it's still nothing. But,
right. I was going to say like this 300% that we could put here.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable.
Is going to miss
nothing.
Right. It versus a pre-COVID or free moratorium average is still below.
Yeah, totally agree. Must sell, right? We still realize that sales will happen: death, divorce, job transfers.
Divorce numbers are all-time high after COVID. And any mortgage mastermind you're on, or people are like, how do we drum up new business? Talk to divorce lawyers.
Oh wow. Okay.
So maybe this one's up 20%.
Okay. I like it. All right. Investors, right? If you're an investor like me and you have a bunch of units, if you didn't sell last year, are you going to sell next year? Or are you just going to buy and hold or sell or find? I mean, 1031, the timeline sucked, nothing to buy. Are you going to pay the tax man?
I know.
What do investors do?
What's funny is I've had more and more 1031 stuff come across my desk. And so I think this number is going up. I'm going to say up 25%.
Okay.
And like you said, I don't know where the heck they're putting it. That's the conversation I'm having with people too, is like, but I think that there might be, there's a lot of folks who want to pretend that they know more than they do. And hey, I'm going to take out of this specific type and I'm going to put it in this type. And so it might be like, I'm cashing out of my single families. I'm going to buy this, or I'm cashing out of my multis and I'm going to do this. So I don't know. I just think that there's enough of them out there trying to make moves, whether it's right or not.
Yeah. So then the final one for me, and this is actually the largest absolute number. If I had to guess, of the 6 million existing home sales, probably half, at least half, are move-up buyers, meaning I sell this and I buy that, meaning there are two transactions. This is the one that I think the Fed just screwed. They're just going to stay put. They're just not going to.
Oh, they are staying put. I mean, and it's one of those things too, where like, I don't even think it has to be like a guess or a prediction by guys like this. Like, I have these conversations every day, and I'm the type of loan advisor that says, yeah, let's run the numbers. Let's take a look. Sell your home, net 200, put 160 towards down payment on next purchase, And people look at it and they go, holy $1,200 a month. No, I don't want to go from $1,800 a month to $3,000. It sounded good. It was a good idea.
Boy, that house was pretty. It ain't that pretty.
Right. And so there's not everybody, there's going to be some people that have seen a 50% increase in their wages and they're doing really well and they started new businesses and it's like, okay,
it's not going to zero, but
I'm a move up buyer no matter what. Right. But this number might go down by 40% just because math.
It's math, man. It's always math. Yeah. So this is, again, I've never had to think about this. I believe for the next several years, we have supply destruction. It is actually a term I don't remember studying in economics. We talk about demand destruction all the time. That's essentially what the Federal Reserve does by raising rates. But we have now created an environment where we have years of supply destruction. So any closing thoughts as you look at this?
No, I mean, I think it's just a fun conversation to have and interesting to think about, because you're right. When the Fed comes out and speaks and they're like, hey, we've got an imbalance, we've got this inflation problem, we're going to come out there and we're going to raise rate. I mean, it's even for a guy like me who's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Yes, we raise rates and we lower demand. Like it's demand destruction. It makes all the sense in the world. I hadn't thought about it. And I love when you just spring stuff on me and literally in real time have the conversation around, what about these unintended consequences? How's this going to affect? Because you and I both know it does have an effect, no matter what folks want to say. And a lot of these different things we looked at, I'm having the conversations. So
yeah,
I know.
I know you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually suspect supply destruction to be worse than demand destruction. Demand destruction happens at the edges. Supply destruction is going to take out a whole swath of people for years. Just gone. So where can people find you?
GreatMortgageBroker.com.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.